Hello everyone, this is Sonic Goon, coach of the Lansdowne Guzzlord here for my VPL Week 7 recap for Season 6. This week I'm playing Dozer Dave, coach of the Pittsburgh Pyukumuku. For this week, I went into this week expecting to lose. Specs Greninja 6-0's my team. I really don't have any way of dealing with this offensively or defensively. I really just have to hope he messes up. Because I don't really have a Hydro Pump switch in that also doesn't get 2 KO'd by Dark Pulse. So yeah, this is a really hard week for me. So I'm basically just going in here on a disadvantage. But after Greninja, actually, if Greninja can go down, and I have ways of dealing with that, I actually have a really good shot at winning because his next fastest mons are both slower than Tornadus, Mega Gallade, and Blacephalon. So if I get rid of that one huge speed thing, or speedy freaking ninja frog, I punch those with Blacephalon. If I get a kill, Blacephalon is basically over. Because I'm going to be running Specs, because he has no real good Shadow Ball switch in. Even like Specs Greninja takes like 60% from, or 50 to 60% from Specs Blacephalon. So if I get a really good read and get some chip on that thing, I can really deal a lot of damage to it. Mega Gardevoir, even though I do outspeed it with 3 of my mons, is still nothing to sleep on. It has so many good support moves because it has the move pool that it shares with Gallade. Fairy coverage is ridiculous, especially with Pixelate allowing all of its normal type moves to now do ridiculous amounts of damage. Psychic moves are good, especially on the special side, because they all hit. Psyshock is great, Psychic is great. I believe it also gets Future Sight. It also has things like Healing Wish and Regular Wish to really add some support options to his team. So I really think that Gardevoir is a really good bring, and I'm definitely expecting it. Zapdos I expect because it's the best mon in his team, I believe, in terms of just raw like power that it has. As a 17-point mon, it definitely deserves to be there with how good it got this generation. It got Air Slash, it got Hurricane, and then also Boots happened, so all the flying types just got immensely buffed. This thing can run defensive, offensive. It doesn't need leftovers because it has Roost. Static's a fantastic ability. Pressure's good for stalling. So yeah, Zapdos is another really good bring because it has offensive and defensive pressure that not many mons can really offer. Goodra and Ferrothorn, another two that I'm really worried about. Goodra is really hard to punch through because it's so specially bulky. Dragon is a very niche defensive type. And actually is really good against all the special attacking, normal special attacking types, such as grass, electric, fire, and water. So I've always had a problem dealing with Goodra historically. I've lost it to it, not even just from, I'm pretty sure majority of my losses to Goodra are actually from Dozer Dave, but I've lost to it against other coaches in other leagues before. This mon's really hard to deal with because it's so damn fat. It's really hard to kill, and my playstyle definitely just is not to like use things like Toxic and stall it out. I typically like to play a bit more offensive and just punch, punch, punch. So Goodra really stops me in my tracks, and that's why I have a problem with it. Ferrothorn, again, has that kind of same mon, but I don't have as bad as a win-loss record against it. Because it is quad weak to fire, so you just run your fire moves, but in this generation, Hidden Power Fire is gone, so I have to rely on all the fire type coverage I have on my team, just random fire type coverage. But, you know, it has pretty good, it's known for its defensive sets, but it actually isn't a slouch offensively either. Power Whip, Knockoff, and Gyro Ball are really good moves. It also has access to both Spikes and Stealth Rocks, as well as Leech Seed. It has T-Wave and things of that nature. Just really, really good mon, and probably will stay good for the rest of Pokemon's history unless a lot of good fire types get created. Next is Buzzwole. I do not expect this to come because I have such a good matchup against this. I have Slowbro, I have Blacephalon, I have Torn, and I have Comfey. The only way he can deal with Torn and Blacephalon with this mon is to run Scarf with Stone Edge. He's risking the Stone Edge miss, but then I also just can go either in my Gallade, set up and win, or go into my Comfey, beat it 1v1 and win. And if it's the AV, it still dies to Torn flying type move, it still dies to Specs plus F1 Flamethrower. So I'm really not scared of this mon at all. I really don't expect it to come either way. Next is Copperregus. Copperregus I'm expecting to come just because it's a really thick mon. It kind of completes his defensive backbone with Goodra and Ferrothorn. It's really hard to deal with because it just doesn't die in one hit, and has things like Paint Split to bring back up the full, but it also has really good setup moves with Iron Defense body press sets. It also has Toxic and Knockoff. Just to round out its pretty decent move pool for a 9-point ghost type. It's really solid. The last 3 mons on his team I really don't expect him to bring. Rotom Frost is a really bad matchup because it's not that fast. All my mons that are faster than it can one-shot it anyway. Like, I'm pretty sure Torn one-shots it with, like, Superpower or Heat Wave. Gallade definitely one-shots it with literally any fighting type move. And F1 one-shots it with Flamethrower. So I really don't expect Rotom Frost to come. It's just kind of, it would be dead weight if he brought it. Rhyperior, again, it's just more setup fodder for Gallade. I really don't care if he's like in a Rock Polish weakness policy set, because at +2 speed, I'm fairly certain that Torn T outspeeds, and I am running max speed Torn T, and I just one-shot it with Grass Knot anyway. And then Flareon, I'm especially not expecting him to come. If he brings Flareon, he's basically throwing, because Goodra does Flareon's role in this match like way better. There's literally no reason to run Flareon or run Flareon over Goodra unless you're trying to meme, which Dave is known for doing, but I feel like Dave is will be taking this seriously just because he's trying to make playoffs. Because this week I'm going in at 5-1 and he's going in at 3-3, so he basically has to win out in order to guarantee playoffs. So any loss is really just detrimental to him. To go into the team I built, I brought Guzzlord because it resists both stabs of Greninja, but this probably wasn't the best bring. Sludge Wave, Dark Pulse, Fire Blast, Draco Meteor. I feel like I was definitely playing around with 2 different ideas for this Guzzlord, with physical or special, and I went with the special just because I felt like this was a little bit more consistent. But I definitely should have played around more with the physical set, because I feel like that would have probably done a little bit more work now, because I have so many different difficulties with dealing with like AV, Goodra, and physical would definitely stop that in its tracks. Next is Heavy Duty Boots Torn T, pretty standard. Defog, Hurricane, Grass Knot, Heat Wave. Heat Wave's here for Pharaoh, and Grass Knot's here for Rhyperior, and Hurricane's here for everything else. Yeah, and Defog's here because I don't really want to have to deal with rocks, because I don't have boots on my Cephalon. I really need to punch holes and keep this thing around for a very long time. Next is Gallade, Zen Headbutt, Drain Punch, Poison Jab, Knockoff. Zen Headbutt hits pretty much everything that isn't immune to fighting in dark, or resists that for pretty decent damage. Drain Punch hits everything that's weak to fighting for pretty good damage, and I chose this over running Close Combat just because all the Pokemon that die to Close Combat also die to Drain Punch anyway, and then like Ferrothorn, since it's Iron Barbs and probably going to either Rocky Helmet or Life or Leftovers, I really need that sustain against it in order to really beat it out. And then Poison Jab because I need something to hit the Gardevoir for super effective damage, and I am almost guaranteed to one-shot it. It's roll in my favor to kill it, so if it has any chip on it, it just dies. And then Knockoff because Knockoff's the best move in the game. And then here I actually have a Cephalon, Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Mind Blown, and Toxic. Mind Blown's there kind of for a meme, but it also kind of could work if he raw switches in a Greninja to like take a hit. Mind Blown actually will kill it, and if I kill it with Mind Blown, that's just a huge threat against my team Gone, and it actually allows me to later come in and sweep his team. So, yeah. Regardless, I'm probably going to be clicking Shadow Ball with this Mon as much as I possibly can, just because it does so much against this team. Next is AV Comfey. This is the only thing I really could think of to switch into Greninja, because it takes less than half from a Hydro Pump, and then Drain kisses all of the HP back. U-turn and Giga Drain here just for coverage. Giga Drain to hit Rhyperior, and then U-turn to get it out when it needs to. Since Comfey didn't get Mystical Fire in Gen 8, which it should have, I really don't have any way of dealing with the Ferrothorn with this mon, which really sucks because Ferrothorn just hard walls this mon regardless. So I just put Defog in the last slot because I didn't know what to put there. Last but certainly not least is Nidoking. Again, I feel like Nidoking is certainly just like that one mon I always slap in at the end because if I don't know what to do. Nidoking is super strong. Scarf T-Bolt has a 30% chance to kill Greninja from full, and if he has like more than 10% chip on him, it's actually a guaranteed kill. So yeah, this is when I said like I need to really like force him to make mistakes. I'm going to have to play Nidoking so well so he doesn't think I'm Scarf, and then I have to get that 30% roll in order to really have a chance of winning, or get enough chip on him to think that I'm not Scarf. But that's gonna be hard. So to get right into the battle, he brings exactly the same 6 that I expected him to, but because Doza Dave is known for bringing non-standard sets because he hates Smogon, I don't really have anything really to gain from this. But even then, it doesn't matter if he doesn't bring the standard Smogon sets because Spectre Ninja still 6-0s me, and like even then, some of the standard Smogon sets just beat me, like AV Gudra. So I don't really gain much from looking at this team preview, but I was definitely looking at leading Guzzlord because I don't expect him to lead Gren. If he leads Cofagrigus, I get to click Dark Pulse. If he leads Ferrothorn, I get to click Flamethrower. If he leads Zapdos, he can't one-shot me, and then I do significant damage with Dark Pulse. And if he leads like Gardevoir, I just switch out. So he leads Zapdos like I thought he would probably because it's a fast mon that clicks Volt Switch. So here I learned that he is pressure, so I'm super happy he isn't static, so I can actually freely click moves with my Gallade and not worry about getting 30% paralysis. But for this first turn, I was debating between Draco Meteor and Dark Pulse. Draco Meteor probably would have been the safer play because why would you go into Gardevoir when I have a Guzzlord that can run like a Specs Guzzlord set that could just punch holes through his team? If I was Specs Guzzlord, I actually probably would have done over half to his Gudra, even if it was AV max HP. But instead, that Dark Pulse is nothing, and I have no Dragon type switch in that's consistent because Gudra does learn Sludge Wave, so I just have to sack my Guzzlord again. Here I get a free into my Gallade, so I get to freely click Knockoff. Because I'm -2, Draco wasn't doing much. Nothing on his move pool was doing much to me. So I didn't really care. So I got to freely knock off this leftovers. Here he hits a Toxic on my Torn. I'm fine with this. I don't really care. But I start missing Hurricane. That's the second Hurricane I've missed of the season so far. So going in this, I actually only missed Hurricane once. So I've been really, really good on my Hurricane accuracy. So and I really sucked to see that, but I was like, that's fine. It's only one. And then I missed the second one. This really mattered. Getting any, like, if I had gotten both of those Hurricanes on this Cofagrigus, it was dead. And then I wouldn't have to deal with this for the rest of the game. And then Gallade was able to freely click, like, Drain Punch or something all game. But instead, he's able to just get so much damage off my Torn T and knock off my Heavy Duty Boots, and it's just really bad. To add insult to injury, I missed my Zen Headbutt, so at this point I'm on tilt because I just missed literally all the inaccurate moves that I've clicked so far. And I should have probably, honestly looking back on this, the Zen Headbutt really, I shouldn't have gone for this anyway. I should have just gone for 2 knockoffs because knockoff into knockoff would have definitely killed the Cofagrigus at this range. But instead, because I go for that Zen Headbutt, I'm actually lower at 34% on my Gallade, so this Gallade's pretty useless unless I can get a good Drain Punch off. Here I'm stupid again, and I just go for the obvious Draining Kiss against the obvious Ferrothorn coming in, and that takes so much recoil from the Ferro, and I'm basically forced to go into my Torn. Here I actually make a good play. I go for Hurricane because I don't expect Ferro to stay in, and I get another Hurricane off. Hurricane hitting there finally is so good. I was like, man, I think I got a pretty good break from my bad hack so far. And then I miss another Hurricane. This matters so much. If I hit the other another Hurricane, Goodra would have been in range of Gallade's Drain Punch, so I'm able to heal back up to over half, and then be able to tank some more hits from other mons, such as Goodra maybe, or not even just Goodra, but like Zapdos could probably tank like an electric move, or sit in front of Ferrothorn and spam Drain Punch. But unfortunately, I missed the Hurricane. Here, since I'm on tilt, I'm just like, I might as well go for this play anyway, because I can just get the crit, right? Because I'm on tilt. I basically just believe I've already lost. This is already a really bad match, and all this hack's going not my way, or even just not happening, is adding insult to injury, because it was already super hard for me, and now it's just making it even more impossible for me. Here I learned that he is gooey, so this Gallade is not really that useful to stay in here, so I have to go in the Nidoking, as he drops a Draco and nearly kills Nidoking. So basically my entire thought process of switching a Nidoking here is, if he goes for Draco, he's not going to kill me. If he goes for Sludge Wave, he's not going to kill me. And then I'm able to just kill it off with the Thunderbolt no matter what. And I'm basically just hoping he thinks that I'm not Scarf. And I'm also hoping that he does not running Water Shuriken with Greninja, because he hasn't run Water Shuriken this entire season so far. And he stays in, but I don't get the roll. I only do 92%, which is annoying. And he just kills my Nidoking. Here I go into Comfey. I'm really dumb. I play this click move in front of whatever's in front of me, which is dumb. I really should have just clicked U-turn, because Blacephalon kind of went in here. But instead I just kind of allowed it to set up Trick Room in my face. And that was dumb. I should have actually U-turned on this turn when he goes for Trick Room. Instead, I just stay in and spam Draining Kiss, because I'm like, oh, I'm done. I already lost. I definitely should have at least played for differential, but I just wasn't, because I was just that far tilted. So yeah, GG's to Dave. I think that he played really well, and everything just didn't go my way, and then I played bad. Like, all the trifecta of terrible happened to me. Bad matchup, bad play, bad hacks. It's just really bad. But I'm not really too upset about it, because I've already clinched playoffs at this point, so I don't really care if I lost here. As I said, it was like I had to play so well and get that roll against Greninja. That was my only real win con, was kill Greninja and then hope I don't fuck up. And the game was just like, nah, you're not even going to have that chance. And just screwed me over from the get-go. So yeah, going into next week, I'm going to be 5-2. Still guaranteed playoffs, but I'm not guaranteed first seed in the division. I really want the highest seed I can get, so that way I can play like the lower seeded teams that I have a higher chance of beating. And Dozer Dave is now 4-3, so he's really good shot at making playoffs. All he really has to do is win out, and he makes it. Or if he loses, he has to. It's relying on like certain people winning out, and I don't think those are possible in some of the matchups. So yeah, GG's to Dave. I hope he makes playoffs. I hope I make first seed and he doesn't actually steal first seed from me. If I lose next week, he actually gets first seed over me if he wins out. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week in week 8. Hopefully I pull out a win.